right, welcome to Your Time, Your Money, the show where your time is just as valuable as your money, and we know that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm here with Matt Torilla, my partner.
Mark Esley, it's time for the Thunderdome today.
It is. We're
two
gonna have a little
IRAs
battle.
enter, one can leave.
One can leave, and we'll determine which one that is. So welcome to our episode today. It's entitled Roth versus Traditional. Now, not necessarily Roth IRA or traditional IRA, but it could be Roth Deferred Comp,
Roth 403B.
403B,
Yep.
401k. We get a lot of questions from listeners on what should I do, traditional versus Roth, pre-tax versus after-tax. So we thought maybe we'd have a little fun with it today, do a little bit of a battle.
The duel of the IRAs.
Yeah, so we actually don't know which side we're going to be arguing. We're going to do a little rock, paper, scissors here to determine.
I am the rock, paper, scissors champions of the world. That this is an accurate statement. If you look
Yes.
up me on Wikipedia, I hold the title.
He doesn't say which world, though. So
Yeah, it's my own world. It's my own small.
All right, so we're going to do rock,
ready?
paper, scissors. Does dynamite count?
Dynamite does not count.
Dynamite does
the
not
winner
count.
gets to pick, though, right? The winner gets to pick what they want.
Gets to pick the side that they want.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right. Mark got me. He is now the new world champion.
All right.
I got taken my throne.
Nice. I got to get a belt in now. I got to get
I'll bring like a ring.
a scissor belt.
Oh, it's
I
love
scissor.
it.
Scissor has a belt buckle. Right.
I was having a feeling you were going to go paper again, but I was like, I'm not sure.
I am going to go, and I am going to.
Wait, can I guess what you're going to pick?
You can guess what I'm going to pick.
I bet Mark's going to pick Roth.
How'd you know? I was not. But now I will.
I knew it. I knew he was going to pick Roth.
So I am going to pick Roth IRA
Nice.
/ 403B, 401k, whatever it might be. So it's your time.
And it's your money.
So let's get into it. Roth versus traditional. You're on the traditional side.
Yes. Well, the traditional IRA is a great vehicle for a lot of different reasons. And the most important one is mitigation of tax liability, right? You make money, you make an earned income, and you need a way to defer that income. And you don't want to pay taxes on it right now because you may be at a higher tax bracket than you are when you're in retirement. So I can defer assets either in a 401k, an IRA, a 457, a simple, and I don't have to pay taxes on them until I retire and until I'm older. So I'm kicking the can down the road. I don't want to pay tax right now.
All right. So you're under the impression that paying tax on all your money, 100% of your money, is better than paying tax on only a portion of your money.
I have to. I have
'Cause that's what it
I have to
boils down
mitigate
to,
taxes.
right?
I can't pay all the taxes now.
So so you would want to do a traditional IRA if that was the case. However, I'm in the boat that
Roth space.
I would much rather pay tax on just the principal I'm putting in, especially if I'm 20 years old, versus the principal plus interest compounded over the next 40 years before retirement to make sure that all the interest that I earn on that account between now and retirement is 100% tax-free.
The old time versus timing argument,
Right.
huh?
And the reason I say that is because, look, in reality, if you're retired and let's say you want to go and buy a car, but you don't want to finance it.
Right. I don't.
You don't like monthly payments?
I just want to buy it outright.
So what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to go to the car dealer and you're going to have to haggle with that car, salesman for an hour or two going back and forth to save $3,000 on your car. But then when you pull the money out of your retirement account, you're going to have to take out maybe $4,000 or $5,000 more to net the same money.
Because I have to save that money on taxes. Yes. So I kick the can, and it's a situation I'm in now where if I'm going to save for retirement, I don't want to pay all the taxes on my income now because I'm earning at the highest rate, right? I'm earning at 38%. So I'm saving 38% now to pay 25% later. Because when I'm later in life, I don't have as much income, and maybe my tax bracket's lower, or maybe tax rates have gone down. Maybe the government smartens up a little bit and they don't tax people as much anymore.
You're digging yourself in a hole here.
Oh, no. I've got a loophole for you. Pull the old carpet out from the Roth.
The one thing any client can never anticipate is what tax brackets are going to be
legislative changes
next year, let alone 20 years down the road, right?
That's true, yeah.
But we do know that the nation is in record debt. We do know that the major source of income for the federal government is income tax and estate tax, by the way.
Yes,
right?
It's very high.
And, both of those things suggests to me that tax brackets are probably going to be historically higher than they are today. In the past,
You're already taking half of everybody's money. They got to stop taking
know,
so much of our money, Mark.
True.
I'm going to write a letter to my congressman.
True. But I guess the bigger advantage to my plan, the Roth plan, is that
Mark picked the easy
when
one.
you get to a certain age of 73 years old right now, you have something in your plan called the required minimum distribution.
Yes, I get money no matter what. Awesome.
And you are forced to, whether you want to or not, you are handcuffed into taking out a certain percentage each year for the rest of your life.
So I'm kind of captured in that space. I can't run away from it, huh?
Yeah, and I can just defer in the Roth for until I'm 100, 200, 300, however long I want to live. Is how long I can defer that money to.
Anti-aging serum is working quite well. Now,
exactly. It was like the Captain America episode where I got injected and
the super serum, super soldier serum.
Yeah, I just got longevity.
Well, I mean, for the current tax brackets, I'm going to save a lot of money. I'm getting my money into the market. The traditional, the 457. A lot of times Roths aren't available, which is kind of crazy to me, to be honest with you, as I meet with clients. Sometimes a Roth isn't available, and I can't even do a Roth IRA. So there are limitations to the Roth. If I make too much money, if I try to do a regular old brokerage Roth, I don't have enough. If I have too much income, I can't do it at all. But I can do a non-deductible traditional, and I can put money in the traditional IRA and continue to save toward retirement. So that the Roth handcuffs you in the sense of total income, not in a workplace plan. In a workplace plan,
gave me a backdoor option to get money into a Roth. Do you know that or not?
Well, Mark, I'm just setting these volleyballs up for you to spike right back at me, aren't I?
So what Matt's referring to is the option to do a non-deductible IRA, and have that money sit in there for a time frame, and then convert it to a Roth IRA. And Roths allow conversions for later planning, where once you get that money in there, though, it's growing once again tax-free. So I can take a mutual fund, put it in a traditional IRA, and let it grow and pay all the tax on it. Or I could put that same exact fund in a Roth, and all the capital gains, dividends, earnings, and stuff like that in the Roth IRA could be tax-free for me later down the road. Right?
Mark, you seem like you did a lot of research on this.
I haven't even gotten into the best category, and that's what happens if you're a non-spouse and you die. Because what happens, Matt, in your plan? And let's say you have
I play the loser very well.
Let's say you have $1.5 million built up in your
traditional
401k,
and I get hit by a bus.
And you get hit by a bus,
big bus,
and your wife's with you, and now that $1.4 million goes to your 2 kids.
Oh, so that means my kids inherit the money, and they don't inherit it at a stepped-up cost basis because it's in traditional assets. Well, after 2020, I believe there was the Secure Act 1.0, now the 2.0 is out, and my kids have to take that out over 10 years, no matter what.
Whether they want to or not, right?
I actually ran into a person about a year ago that didn't realize they had to take it out, and the penalty for not taking it out is 50% of what had to come out.
Yeah.
So if let's say you inherit $1 million, which kind of stinks for my argument, and the minimum RMD is $50,000, and I don't take it, the Uncle Sam's going to get $25,000.
Yeah, and I have RMDs on the Roth side as well for non-spousal.
But they're not taxable, right?
They're tax-free.
Yeah.
Another benefit I think that I have going for myself is that Roth income doesn't count towards somebody called Irma.
Oh, Irma and Maggie.
And Irma's
one. Don't forget about Maggie.
Irma and Maggie are probably your 2 favorite people based on your plan, right?
When I'm 68 years old, right? Yeah, I know. When I'm 68, I'm going to have to start. After Social or Medicare starts, the Irma and the Maggie are going to affect, 73 at least, because that's when RMDs begin. That's when my Irma and Maggie are going to change drastically.
Yeah, so this is your income-related adjustment to your Medicare costs. And if you are taking money out of your IRA, that's counted as income.
Right.
On your Irma, on your adjustment for Medicare. Yep. I don't have that though in the Roth. That's a major win.
There's no income.
That's a major win. Combine that with maybe a little life insurance planning. Ooh, I might have all tax-free income coming in.
Well, short-term IRA helps people that need to mitigate income now. I think the short-term is the win for traditional, but the long-term I think might be the win for Roth for compounding interest over time.
Yeah, and to your defense, right? When you're putting money in your pre-tax from your payroll, to put $100 in, you're only seeing the difference of 70 or so in your paycheck.
Total from tax, FICA, federal, state, Medicare.
You know what I mean? So it's easier for you to add because it's going in pre-tax.
Right.
So, if you want to max it out, and let's say you want to do, $600 a month, and you're over 50.
Right. I could do more.
Right. That's $600.
Much more.
That's $600 a month may only be a difference of $480 in your paycheck, or whatever that number is.
One thing I want to make sure we talk about for a second is, and I think short-term traditional plays a big role for high-income earners. I mean, any income earner helps, but the long-term, I think Roth wins the battle of the long-term compounding interest. But what people don't know, and things I've run into, spouses who file together, right, even though they have IRAs or Roth IRAs, your maximum contribution is, I think, $7,000 if you're under 50.
2023, 7,000.
Right.
Yep.
But the problem is, though, is it's
Over
7,000 between both. So I can't do 7,000 to a Roth and 7,000 to a traditional IRA. I can only do 7,000 to one of them based on my level of income.
You can split it.
I could do 35 and 35.
Yeah, per spouse.
Right. So in my IRA, I can do Roth IRA if I'm under the income cap. I could do 35 in my Roth and 35 in my traditional. But what people don't know is if they have a workplace plan and I do a traditional, I can't write it off because they're going to take my primary plan. Now, I'm not a CPA, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. So so make sure you talk to your CPA about these things, because a lot of people don't know that there's a difference between how much they can contribute and what is deductible, right? Versus what their spouse can contribute.
Correct.
So it's important to know those little rules. I ran into a client, and she's, telling me, "Hey, I'm throwing $500 a month into my Roth," and I was like, "What are you talking about? You make more than $230,000 between you and your spouse."
Look, the pre-tax world, and for most people, we're looking at 401k or 403b or whatever. The pre-tax world, though, also includes something called a cash balance plan.
Oh yeah, cash balance plans are very helpful for doctors, lawyers.
This is where the
attorneys.
Pre-tax money wins.
Yep.
Because if you look at our past episode on cash balance plans, which I encourage our listeners to go and look at, for an extremely high net worth person that is structured right and can do it, you may be able to put away $100, $200, or more $1,000
in a year
pre-tax
and save 40%.
And if you calculate those savings in, that by far might outweigh the benefits.
Well,
of putting $7,000 in a Roth or
the limit.
401k.
The Roth is a great option, especially in a workplace plan, because there's no income limit. But in a regular old Roth, like
Correct.
A brokerage account, you have an income limit.
There's a phase out. Yeah.
Right? Now, here's a great little tidbit that people don't know. Let's say you work and you have a stay-at-home wife, right? And you're over the income limit for a regular old Roth IRA and a brokerage account. Your wife can do the maximum contribution to her traditional IRA if you have earned income. Because why? As long as you filed together as a joint return, your wife can do a max traditional IRA contribution. And you get the write-off for the full tax return, which is awesome. Again, talk to your CPA, but not everyone knows that. They say, "Oh, my wife stays at home. She doesn't do an IRA." Well, why not?
Mm-hmm.
She should.
Yeah.
Mitigate tax liability for the right now.
Yeah.
So just food for thought. A lot of people don't know that.
So look, but both have their pluses and minuses. I think in the long run, there's a lot more planning that can be done, and I think there's a lot more estate protection in the Roth.
Well, both are protected from any type of nursing home situation, other than the fact that if I go to a nursing home and I have traditional money, they still get the RMD. Whereas in a Roth situation, there is no RMD.
Yeah.
So they can't take that money out.
Yeah, so you have benefits on both worlds, but when push comes to shove, we understand tax brackets are probably going to be higher in the long-term future. Mm-hmm. We understand that the Secure Act brought about problems with estate planning transfers to kids.
Yeah, it made it really difficult.
Or non-spousal inheritance. And you really want to put that in context of your strategy with claiming Social Security, claiming your pension. to look at conversions. Perhaps now you're doing heavily in pre-tax, but there might be a time where you want to do Roth with conversion. So there's a case where they both handshake well together. You get the tax benefits while you're working, and then you start working on your estate planning after you retire at, say, 60 or 62.
Again, integrating a CPA, making sure they have the conversation. I love getting a phone call from someone CPA saying, hey, do a $48,000 conversion. Yeah. Because I know that number is vetted.
Yeah.
And they know in the next year we're not going to be over or get a jump a bracket.
Yeah. And you're not seeing a lot of people retire with over $1 million in a Roth yet.
Not yet, but it's coming.
But we're getting there, right? Roths came out in 1998. Thank you, Senator Roth.
Senator Roth.
That time frame, though, people didn't catch on to it right away.
Right. It took a couple of years.
Really, it wasn't into the mid 2000s that people were like, "Oh, what's this account?"
Right. What do I do here?
And they missed out on 5-6 years of contributing to it because the information didn't get out there. Now people are familiar with it, or at least have seen it on a statement.
Yep.
And you're going to get to a point in time where you may have somebody retiring with millions in the Roth.
Especially with all the people that have called in about the custodial Roth.
Right. And here's my point about the Roth is when that starts happening, I can see a world where politicians say, what did we do?
We're closing this loophole. Right.
You know what I mean? I can see a time where instead of the Roth ability to put in becomes becoming more less advantage, becoming less advantageous over a period of time, and starting to say, well, only if you're under a certain income can you do it. And they lower that level way down.
I heard a great argument for how we replace Social Security, and that basically every infant that's born from 2024 on, the government puts $20,000 in a Roth custodial account for them that tracks the S&P 500. And by the time they're 65, they have more than $4 million they draw from exponentially.
Hypothetical rate of return.
Hypothetical rate of return at 7%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That gives a person enough money to draw on at 65 for the rest of their life and never run out. How crazy is that?
Well, it's eye-opening if you we won't get into the weeds, but it's eye-opening if you take what your average Social Security payment is and you just put it into an investment account earning 5-6%.
And what happens?
What the lump sum is by the time you get to the age of 65.
Holy smokes!
Versus what Social Security is paying you out. It's pretty
a
eye-opening.
Major difference.
But but to my point, I see a world down the road where there may be modifications to the Roth, and it may not be as easy to put money in.
I think the income side is going to go down exponentially.
So I think we have it here now. We need to understand it.
Argue for it. Argue for the Roth in your workplace plan if you don't have it. Argue for the Roth in your workplace plan.
Yeah,
because not every I would say less than 50%.
Yeah, so our listeners understand. Go to your HR person.
Yes.
Tell them you'd like them to shop out your work plan. So some people are intimidated or think this is all that my employer offers. No, that's what your employer set up because maybe they didn't know that.
Or maybe it was easy.
Yeah, or it was before Roth.
Right.
Engage in that conversation with HR and the heads of your company about perhaps shopping out your plan. We do a lot of plan conversions.
Oh my gosh!
For that specific reason, because the plans were set up or they were pre-Roth, and we can go in and talk to employers and say, "Hey, come over to our firm, look at what we do, and let's add in at the same time a value add to your employees, which is a Roth."
An easy question you could start this off with, Mark. Right? If you're the HR person, hey, when was our plan set up? Right? And then the HR person looks and goes, 1999. And that's usually what it is, 2001.
And chances are there was no Roth.
Right? Now, think about any contract that you've engaged in. Think about anything you've bought. If it's more than 23 years old, do you think you might want to upgrade it? Or take a look at it? Would you buy a water heater 23 years ago and not have someone look at it? Food for thought.
Only if I want cold water.
Or a basement full of water, one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we did a nice job battling a little bit. I mean, obviously it's clear that I won again.
I think the Roth came out on top. It's okay. The traditional just came up, stabbed you right in the back as you were walking out of the cage.
I will get my rock, paper, scissors trophy.
You threw paper 3 times.
I'll put it up on the Your Coach Your Money
maniac
episode.
Throws paper 3 times. Freaking you're a sick person.
As always, you can find us at 43 British American Boulevard in Latham, New York, 12110. You can reach us at 444-YTYM for your time, your money. Please subscribe and also send in those questions, and we'll be happy to answer them. Actually, I think it's about time because we've got a lot of questions coming in about doing another top question episode. It's been a little while since we've done that. So tune in for our next episode, and as always, it's your time
and your money.